Welcome to the Tech and Space Leaders Show, where we learn lessons from leaders of the next frontier. I am your host, Lisa Dreher, and I'm really excited to introduce our guest for today, David Chalkho. He is the founder and owner of SkyScale. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure
Abs-
to be here.
Absolutely. And maybe you can start by giving us a little background on yourself and SkyScale.
Okay, so I'm an industrial designer. I've been running my industrial design studio for the last 25 years. I still do. And about 12 years ago, I was working in a project related with a medical device for a company, a huge company here called InVap. And by the time I was working on this, this company have these different departments. They have the nuclear department and a very big aerospace department. So I got a call for the aerospace department, and they say, David, we have a problem. There is an expo in 3 weeks, a very big, important aerospace expo, and we must have a model of the satellite where we are building. And we know you are super creative and you manage to 3D print parts, um, and we need your help. So this is how it started, my journey making 3D models for the aerospace industry. We started working with INVAP. We managed to get to the expo, to that expo with the model done. We worked night and day. And the result was quite good. I mean, apparently they look it, they like it very much because they kept ordering other models and they wanted to have the whole gallery of the historical satellites that they built. So, and from the mid 90s till present. So we start working on it, and we made about 10 different missions for INVAP, and then CONAE, which is the Argentinian Aerospace Agency, contacted us, and we started also working with them, and they were working on a mission together with NASA. So we got in touch with NASA, and we were asked to build a big model for the JPL for the at the NASA facilities, and this is how it started.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it's a long journey, but very, very fruitful one. And since then, we hadn't stopped expanding our facilities and hiring more people, adding more people to our organization. And as you might know better than me, the aerospace industry has grown exponential the last years. So um, the, the the future looks very good for us.
Excellent,
Um,
excellent. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the main problem that SkyScale is solving. Why do we need models?
okay, so there is a characteristic on the aerospace industry that it involves the mission as the project that it involves is related with a huge investment in human resources and money. And in the other hand, once you launch this satellite or rover or whatever it is, there is nothing left on Earth to show. So, you companies, different companies find themselves in a position in which they need to show what are they doing in different expos or showing their projects to investors or providers. And this is when a physical model, even if they have 3D renders or animation, there is no replacement for having those physical 3D models to better share with the world what are they doing. So with that said, there are different use cases and different scenarios. Like like I said before, like expos or making model for investors or for government organizations. Um, on For example, now there are a lot of companies that are opening their own store online, because there are a lot of people that are becoming fan of those companies. There are people that are fan. I'm the fan of SpaceX, for example, or other
Mhm.
different companies, and those people want to support the company, want to feel part of their journey of and the mission they are working on. So having this online store and being able to purchase, for example, a scaled model for their home is a way for those people to support the company. And for the company, it's a key for having more visibility uh, and even kind of profit to finance other actions related with marketing or making related with having more visibility.
Sure, sure.
So there are a lot of different use cases that we are working on. There are other use cases we are working that are related where with the engineering process itself. There are models that we have done for engineers department, for example, that need to validate or check the way things are assembly at the cleaning room, for example. Or we had another order for the Luxembourg University. There were a group of people that were developing a navigation system there. And they needed this model to better understand the way the satellite moves space, and they were able to collect data from the way the light reflect on the model itself. So there are plenty of different scenarios in which we uh, join the different missions and projects. And yes, this
Right.
is where we're
Very,
focused.
very exciting. That's amazing. So you're actually helping to turn some of the spacecraft concepts into reality so that they can actually see what those might look like once they're manufactured, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
amazing. Amazing. So what is the actual process of developing these scale models?
Okay, so there are different ways to approach to a project. Basically, we can start from getting the CAD files, the 3D files from the company. And from there, we start a process in which we scale those files, we adapt those files to the different technologies that we use, like 3D printers or PCs that are going to be cut by laser or are going to be machined by our CNC router here at our warehouse. So the very first step is just to start from the files that we get, of course, and after signing an NDA, etc. And from there, we go through all this process of scaling and adapting. And once the project is scaled and is adapted to the technologies that we use, we start production. And we pay a lot of attention of the way the models are packed after production and assembling, because most of our clients are in United States and Europe. So even we have a commercial office in Madrid, but again, it's very important for us to invest time on the containers that are going to hold those models to the client. And beyond that, they usually do use those containers and packaging for taking those models to different expos, for example. So we conceive it, the packaging, as a part of the project, because it's going to live with the model for a long time.
Right, right.
Um,
So
yeah.
you started to mention some of the equipment and things that you have that help you actually build these models. Can you talk a little bit about your facilities?
Yeah, well, our main facilities are our hands and our brain. I mean, it starts from thinking about the project and trying to better understand the way it's going to be manufactured. But beside that, once the adapting the files are ready, we have different machines on our facility, like different kind of 3D printers. There are things, some parts that are printed in ABS or even fiber carbon on or filament printers. There are other parts that need to be much more accurate, and then we go for resin printers in which the tolerances are very, very small. There are, as I said, parts that are made on our CNC machines, that are routed on our CNC machines. There are other parts that we cut by laser, like different kind of plates, acrylic plates or wooden plates that we cut by laser. And then we have our cleaning room for painting parts. There's another specific room for assembling models and packaging models. So yeah, although we are placed at the very center of Buenos Aires, the city itself, it looks like a really factory here. Um, and this is what allows us to get to the point we want, to get the finishings we want, the quality we pursue. Uh, it's all done here in house.
Yeah, wow, amazing. Can you maybe share a few examples of some of the types of spacecraft that you've
Yeah,
actually built models for?
sure, sure. Let me share my screen just a second. Screen. Okay, so this is a model we did for the JPL for NASA. It's just to give you an idea. It's it's about 2 meters tall. This model,
Wow.
and when it comes to this size, you need to really dive in details and be able to manifest details that are very small on the real thing. In this case, also, as you can see, you have those solar panels and this big antenna, which is the main instrument of the mission. This was a mission that was able to measure salt on the oceans. Then we managed to make the model in a way that can also demonstrate the way solar panels and antennas are deployed in space. So
Wow.
these guys were moving on the models. There are other projects like this. This is a geo satellite. It's about 3 meters tall. And this is a satellite we did for this company INVAP here in Argentina.
Wow.
It might be one of the biggest we did. This is the body itself, the main body that includes different materials. We were talking about materials and technologies. So you can see here parts that are 3D printed, panels that are cut by laser, parts that are bent and cut in metals. We also rely on different kind of metals like lightweight aluminum for tiny little structures. Um, there is another project, for example, this one is a radar, it's satellite, which is a radar, it's a SAR radar. This is also about 2 meters tall. And for example, this project is a project that we did in different configuration. As I said before, for example, this one is the configuration that would work for lobbies or for expos, etc. We also did this other configuration, which is a desktop one. This is a tiny little model, which is about 30 centimeters tall.
Oh my gosh.
Uh, yeah, and the purpose was for for a corporative present gifts, gift for investors, for clients, for providers. So we cover all that range, since this small one till this big one.
Wow.
Uh, and there is a third use case scenario, which is this one, which is the educational one. What you see
Oh,
here is, is the same model that we have done for being split in schools and for educational purposes. And in this case, the kids were able to just cut out different parts of the paper and then bend and glue the paper and build the satellite themselves.
Oh my gosh, that
And
is really cool.
yeah, this one is one of the launchers we did. This model that is about 1 meter tall. You can see the engines, different details on the main body itself, like the
Yes.
piping, which is along the rocket. By the way, this day we're working hand by hand with the Rocket Lab, this big company placed
Yeah.
in both New Zealand and States. And I cannot get in details too much, but it's related to the launchers and the things that they are doing. Um, there are other kind of projects, like, for example, this one's is a radar. We have done also radars, which is, of course, related with the aerospace industry.
Sure.
This one that you can see here have the ability to spin. You know, there is a switch that you switch on, and then very, very smoothly the radars spin.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's fun.
Absolutely. That
Yeah,
is really amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing
yeah,
those examples with us.
yeah. Let me just share one little more.
Oh,
This one, this last one is a model we did to the Luxembourg University,
oh,
and has the core feature here, the difference is that this one was used for validating this navigation system that I tell you. That's why you can see here that the model is attached to a robotic arm. So once we placed the model on the robotic arm was moving according to the software they developed, and that way they could just double check the movements and the way the light reflects on the model.
oh my
Uh,
gosh. That is
okay,
amazing.
thank you very much. Just give me a second, I will stop sharing.
Mhm. That's great. Wow.
Yeah,
Those are amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all those examples with us. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the role that partnerships have played in the development of SkyScale.
yeah. Well, they have played a very, very important role, because I mean, each project for us is it represents a different challenge. There's no project that is the same to the other. So throughout all those years, we have learned a lot about different projects or what is it that the company want to show. There are companies that want, for instance, to make a satellite model in which you could be able to show the inside, the fuel tank, the components that are inside the model. There are other companies that the keyword was quantity. For instance, when it comes to those desktop models, so there are companies that wanted to make 300, 500 of those small models, and we had to learn how to do it, because uh, the journey means learning and improvement yourself and making yourself better. So there were so many different scenarios that through those scenarios we learn to be more efficient, more accurate, more competitive, also in terms of pricing. So yeah, we couldn't have done with our partners and our clients.
Yeah.
And there is also one interesting thing that we learned is that things and models behave different in zero gravity than on Earth. There are a lot of tiny little structures and mechanisms that are meant to work in zero gravity, and that's why they are very, very small, delicate, and they have to be this way because they need to load down weight. But when it comes to the models, we work really hard to keep these scales, the way things are done on real life, but at the same time make parts that are able to support their own weight
Mhm.
and be able to be exposed on Earth. So this is one of the most important things that we learned: how to make things looks the same but work at the same time, working in a different environment environment.
Right. Oh my goodness. So I want to end with one last question, and I'm really excited to get your perspective on this because I think you are in a position where you get to see some of these spacecraft while they're still in the concept phase. They're not real yet. So what I want to ask is if you were to make one prediction about the future of spacecraft development, what would it be?
Well, in one hand, I believe it is going to be more and more related with exploring deep space. And when I think about the future, I think about human race like being a kind of interplanetary entity. And there are, the people talks about it a lot, but at the same time, I believe my hope or my view is that we are living on Earth and we are going to keep living on Earth for a long, long, long time. So I believe that somehow all those missions, like missions to Mars and the approach of studying Mars, should be related to find out what happened there and how can we improve our life here on Earth. And I believe this is something that is going to grow in. Also, it's still there. It's there, yeah, because there are more and more of missions that are learning about Earth and preventing fires and stuff like that. But I believe that uh, all those missions that are looking beyond the moon should take in account their discoveries to better understand how to improve our lives here.
Right,
This is
right.
my vision.
I love that. That's a great prediction. So if someone wanted to learn more about SkyScale, what should they do?
Well, they can get in contact with us through our webpage, which is www.skyscale.ar. And we are also very active on LinkedIn. If you go for SkyScale, look for SkyScale on LinkedIn, then the people can get in touch with us through those two platforms, and we'll be more than happy to assist, to guide, and to you know look forward for future projects.
Excellent,
Yeah,
excellent. Thank you so much for making time to be here with us today. We really appreciate it. It was fascinating learning all about the work that you're doing.
thank you, Lisa. Thank you again for having me. It was a pleasure, really.
Absolutely our pleasure. And I do want to take a moment to also thank GuideForce for hosting these sessions. To learn more about GuideForce, you can visit guideforce.com. And we'll see you next time on the Tech and Space Leader Show.
Thank you.